Bonjour.
Welcome to
Foreplay Matters.
Because
It matters.
and introducing,
Madam We.
and I'm Madame Boku, not Miss, not Mrs. Madame.
Well, today's topic, we're going to be talking about women, sex, secrets, and lies. So, Madam Boku, tell me, what do women need, want, and expect?
Okay, so we're talking sex, right?
We're talking about whatever you want to talk about, Madam Boku.
So I'm glad that you asked because I found myself recently in a situation where I was having an interlude with a new gentleman, and we didn't talk beforehand, and he thought that it would be a great idea to give me a little spank on the bottom, actually more than one, and I'm not into that.
Okay.
So when I think about what women want, need, and expect, communication.
Is key.
That's key. I need you to talk to me. I need to talk to you. We don't need to be figuring it out like that. I'm too old for this. But on the flip side, what do you think women need, want, and expect?
Well, I mean, communication is key, and as far as what women need, I mean, that's something that you need to talk about as far as security, stability, like what in a relationship do you want out of a relationship? And not every relationship is going to be a serious relationship, and guess what? You need to talk about that as well, because need, want, and expect, that's the thing, is based on what category are you in. You know, you need to, because then that's gonna kind of, I guess, dictate the level of expectation. Because if you're casual, you're not going to be expecting the same thing as than if you're in a 20-year marriage, right? So definitely communication. I mean, women are emotional creatures. Men are physical creatures. So, you know, I don't want to sit here and stereotype, because there's men that are sensitive and definitely show their feminine side, not always their masculine side, as well as women as well. But I would definitely say, because women are emotional creatures, we definitely need, want, and probably expect from our partner, and I'm going to say partner, security, stability. I think women want more communication. Men have a hard time with communication. And they have a hard time communicating what they need, want, and expect. I think women definitely want to feel that they have a partner or someone that has their back. A woman always wants that, right? And why is that? Because I will say, just for me, when I know someone has my back, my pussy's gonna remain wet. You know, I'm gonna always be able to have your back and get down when it needs to get down. But if I know that that stability and security is not there, I'm gonna have a hard time. Because that comes, because trust comes into play.
Yeah. You start resenting things as well. Okay. Oh, sorry. So you start resenting things as well, and that does not produce a wet vagina. But you also, on the flip side, you have women who are making more than their men. They're holding down the house, they're holding down all those things. So, you know, I think, to your point, that it does matter what the circumstance is in terms of what expectations are. I can speak for myself, you can speak for yourself, and we can kind of speak in general terms, but there are always outliers.
Right.
There are always people that are like, well, I don't need all of that. All I need for him to show up, or all I need is for him, you know. So I guess it really depends, whatever it is for you. I mean, I'd be interested to know what it is that, you know, the listeners are experiencing as well in their lives. And so, you know, please, by all means, drop it in the comments. Let us know what you think. Let us know what your needs, what your wants, what your expectations are. I'm sure the men are watching, so they'll want to know.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they can, you know, go to our Instagram at Secret Society Life. Or to our website, secretsociety.life, and leave those comments as well, because that will also add to the conversation and possibly future topics as well. But as far as what we've already described as what women want, need, and expect is kind of relationship, let's talk about what women want, need, and expect with regards to sex.
Well, I think I covered don't spank me. How about that part? Okay, don't do that. I am a very strong personality. I'm an alpha female, so I tend to take control in the bedroom. And so when someone steps into the role of alpha, then there's an MMA match all of a sudden, and I wasn't ready. I don't have my uniform on. You know, it goes right back to communication. I really think that, you know, just being respectful and finding out what turns your partner on, what, you know, are their turnoffs, is critical. It's critical when you're engaging in sexual behavior. For me, what's a turn on? I like to dominate. So that's a turn on for me. For someone to trust me enough in order for me to dominate them. Love that. Because it requires something. It requires for you to dig deep and trust what it is that's going to happen. And that also happens through communication as well.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
What about you?
Well, I mean, as far as sex, I guess it depends on my mood. You know, if I'm in a very tantra type of mood and I want to do a whole connection type of thing, then of course I'm going to slow it down, you know, because I'm just having that kind of night. As far as cuddling or doing some breath work or energy work or tantra or Reiki or something that's going to be a little different, that's more about connection. In spirituality, but sometimes you're in that mood that you're like, no, I just want you to pick me up and, you know, and take control and pull my hair. Let's role play. You're the caveman, you know. Sometimes you have
I'm the caveman.
You know, I mean, yes, Madame Boku, we know that you definitely dominate the bedroom. However, Madame We is very submissive in the bedroom, and that we can also go into a conversation as well, is because of what your daily routine and your daily life takes on. You know, by us being in certain roles, you know, running your own business, you know, that's what we both do. We're consultants. I have a nonprofit that I've been doing for, you know, 14 years and CEO of that. And you take on different roles sometimes in the bedroom. Why is that? You know, whereas I'm dominant in most of the things that I do in life, however, in the bedroom, I prefer to be submissive. I have been known to be a switch, you know, and switch to dominant because possibly, you know, I'm not getting that position, or I'm not getting what I need, want, and expect. Right. So then that's when sometimes I have to switch, right. and
when
become
you say
that
switch, when you say switch, just let's talk about what a switch is, because we talked about dominance, we talked about submissive, and then there is this unicorn that's a switch, and a switch actually can switch from dominance to submission any and all times. It depends on, you know, what the mood is. So,
correct.
So that's what
I'm talking about. Yeah. So and that is based on my mood. So it's not like I always want to be submissive, or I always want to be in a certain role. I think it really plays on what's happening in the day, you know, and especially if I'm like thinking about it, and we can get into our next topic of couples are having less sex, you know, so I think that plays a part too, because if I'm not getting the frequency, then, you know, it might be a moment of caveman, because it's like, Lord, I need to know you can put it down, or you still desire me.
Yeah.
Because that's a big thing with women too. It's like women, in order to be taken there physically, you know, as far as foreplay and worked up and, you know, getting wet or getting aroused, or potentially even hoping to expect to have an orgasm, because may not happen every single time, that frequency needs to be there. Yeah. But the thing is, the studies are showing that couples are having less sex. Why is that?
Yeah. I mean, I think, you know, the first thing that comes to mind is that we're all busy, you know, and I think the more responsibilities that you get in life, the less frequent sex tends to be for some reason. And there's a need to find a healthy balance. I've heard of people saying, oh, well, we have date night, you know, we schedule a date night. I've never, unless I was dating, you know.
Schedule date night?
Schedule date.
You didn't do that in your marriage?
No. Absolutely not. No.
I did.
How'd that work out?
Yeah, I mean, you had date night.
I didn't have it. You know,
You
it
had
was usually,
date night.
it was usually very spontaneous. But I hear that this works for some people, especially if you're super busy. Your schedules are really packed. But you're committed to the relationship working, that you schedule
Date
a
night.
day. And so you pick whatever day it is. What is it? You know, Thursday. You know, can't be Monday. You're just coming off the weekend. So, you know.
That's when you should be.
Right,
having
you
sex
should
on the
be.
weekend.
You should be. You should have.
Right.
Ideally, you should have been having sex this weekend. So you, okay. But you know, apparently that works for some people. I'm not surprised by. And you know, this is an article that was in USA Today. Not too long ago. That was in May. It was this month that it was published, and they're talking about how couples are having less sex. And it's not even, you know, an age thing either,
Right.
because they're even talking about people, you know, that are, you know, from age 16 to 44. So they're seeing a decline with young people. They're seeing a decline with people that are married and established. You know, so, you know, what is going on? What's happening?
Yeah, and let's talk about this. So younger kids having less sex when that's the time to get in. What responsibilities do you have, right? Not that I'm promoting. Let's just get that clear. Not that I'm promoting for, you know, any that aren't married yet. But
Right.
I'm only kidding. To not have sex. What I'm saying is younger people are having less sex, and I wonder if that's because of the whole social media,
I think
Instagram.
so, for
I feel
sure.
like they're having sex with Instagram and with Facebook and with Snapchat.
So
they're
what do you
having
think?
sex
If
with
it's like-
themselves. That's what they're doing.
Like
Selfies.
sexual overload, so they don't actually have to interact physically anymore.
Well, because just their whole interaction now, they don't even really do one-on-one anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it's like their interaction and connection with people now is through social media.
Yeah.
So I would think, I mean, I don't think the study went into that, but I would just say, yeah, that might be why the decline of sex amongst younger people are going down, is because they're more into being Insta famous. And to me, doing a selfie and doing all the Snapchat and how do I look at all these poses that you see, it's like they're having sex with themselves.
I don't know. You know what? I would love for any young people that are listening, I know you're out there, to please drop it in the comments and let us know why, if you're experiencing this, why sex is on the decline in your age bracket. I also think that there's a lot of information out there. This article talked about how although sex has declined with younger people, that protection has risen.
That's
using
good.
protection, and you know, so that's great. So
Being more responsible.
so I wonder if that's also attributable to the media, and like there's more information out there. People have access a lot easier. Back in the day, you had to go to the pharmacy and go, you know, do the walk of shame, go get the condoms. Okay, all right. Hope that, you know, Miss Washington didn't walk in the pharmacy also.
Your
and see
neighbor, right,
you.
to tell your mom.
Okay, but you know, you can order online. You can, you know, so it's
Correct.
just easier access to
Yeah.
protection as well. So I wonder about that. You know, the older folk that are in my age bracket in the 40s, I lived it. I understand. You know, like you have to make an effort to
You
actually.
have to, because life.
Yeah.
It's like we now have to pay bills.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just everything that we're doing as far as being a parent, as far as being, you know, a partner, or, you know, having extra responsibilities, and then whatever your role is at work.
Yeah.
A lot of times people are bringing stuff home from work,
Yeah.
and work kind of trickles over to home.
Yeah.
And that kind of needs to stop. That's why you create date night,
Yeah.
you know, because of stuff like that.
Yeah.
And as far as just wanted to make a point with the young people is
The young people.
yeah, the young people is that, you know, families are getting smaller. So that might be also another thing, you know, like families are now becoming that 1.5, one child and a dog, that 1.5 family, you know. And so I don't know if that also plays a role, because now it's like parents keep that one child busy. You know, you keep them in all these extracurricular activities. You're on them constantly, picking them up from school, taking them to school. It's like the parents are more around. So I wonder if that's the other thing of why the frequency has gone down.
I know the kids that I know, including my kids, are very creative. Okay.
Well, I mean, we have to think about, you know, where we're at when we were kids,
Yeah.
right? So with that being said, you know, let's get into what are some of the best sex positions, because we want to get back to what women need, want, and expect. So what are some of the best sex positions every woman should have?
I know that we disagree on this. Okay. Because we had a little preliminary conversation before we went on. Okay. I actually like missionary. I really do. I like it.
Why do you like it?
I can have him on top. That's how I like it.
You like him on top?
Him on top, yes.
And that's dominating?
That's not me dominating unless I told him to get on top.
But that's what I'm saying. You said earlier you dominate the bedroom,
I do.
and then this give a missionary position, which is a very submissive position. So that's why I'm like, that's very interesting, Madam Boku.
How come I can't be a switch too? How come?
Because you didn't say
we
that.
talk about that? I said I'm very dominant, unless I'm not. I'm a woman and I have recourse to say. Anyway,
Okay,
right. Anyway, but I digress. I love missionary, and that's the position that I respond to the most.
Okay.
Yeah, I respond
and
to
why
that.
is that? Is it the cuddling? Is it the closeness?
It's the closeness. It's him being like, I can't see anything else but you. You know, you all over it. I like that. I like that I can interact with breath play as well.
Eye gazing.
Eye gazing
Okay.
or no. Okay, don't look at me. Stop staring at me. But that's the one that I really enjoy the most. But how about you, Madam Lee?
Oh, well. The best sex position every woman should have. I mean, definitely with me, doggy style. I'm sorry. I love it. I mean, that's a very submissive position. Like I said, I'm submissive in the bedroom unless I decide to switch. But, and for him to dominate me, take control. But also, it just helps with feeling everything, you know.
Go deeper. I went as deep as I could go.
Hello. So that's the best sex position. However, also riding him, you know, and doing the reverse cowgirl position. I mean, I definitely, as far as women, if you want to have control of, you know, feeling so that you can get the friction that you need to possibly have an orgasm, definitely riding and reverse cowgirl is like the best position because you have control of that, of the pace, you know, whether you want to speed it up, slow it down, and so forth, so that you can possibly get to your spot, right? Because you know your body better than him. And you know, most women, you should.
No,
anyway.
it's true. It's true.
It's true. You should know your body better
Which
than
is
him.
why I can't do that position because I don't have strong quads. I know my body. Go ahead.
Yeah, that track, you know, as a track runner, that kind of came in handy. But yeah, you know, so that kind of like leads into, you know, what are some of the other best positions? I mean,
Well, there's an article that actually talks about this. I'm glad you brought it up.
so what are the positions that
So it's
article
interesting. You
says?
mentioned girl on top, which is if you want to feel really confident, that's a position that actually elicits, you know, evokes confidence. There's this position that they call the fox. Now, have you heard of the fox?
We talked about this a little bit.
Foxtrot, fox. Okay.
No, I
So
never
the
heard of the
fox,
fox.
if you don't know either, because I just learned this, is missionary with your legs up over his shoulders. So I don't know why they call it a fox. I don't know if anybody's seen foxes procreate. Can somebody drop it in the comments below? Let us know. No pictures though, please. So I never knew. Then there's, if your partner's really well endowed, the crisscross. So you know this is a technique where, you know, you crisscross your legs together and that kind of takes up some of the length and girth that he might put
Because
in.
women, you know, have them strong hamstrings and quads. Yeah, you're able to control that a little bit by squeezing, you know. So remember that.
Just don't squeeze too hard, snap his dick off. And then, of course, you know, The best position is, you know, a little foreplay. You know what I mean? Like that, hello.
That's-
Foreplay matters because
It matters. That is the best position. Why is that? Because it's any position. It's any and all positions, you know, and we need to get back to foreplay,
Yeah.
right? And a lot of these positions that we're talking about doesn't necessarily have to have penetration involved.
That's
Because
true.
that's foreplay.
that's true.
You know, you can do start doing some massaging with some of these positions.
You can dry hump.
Hell yeah. You know?
You can dry hump.
Right, and that's foreplay, you know, that pretty much can get a lot of the energy going between the two of you, to even see if you have a connection,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, for sure. All right, so moving along, we're moving into 10. I don't know if I have 10, but surprising facts about orgasm that you really want to know. Okay, so for me, multiple orgasms. That's,
You have multiple orgasms?
I do.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
Do you not?
No.
Oh, well, we'll talk after the show.
No, you might
Yeah,
need to
no.
share with our audience. I'm sure
I'm
they're...
talking about you specifically.
They may want to know too. How
so-
can you have multiple orgasms?
I mean, I'm in a headspace where I can have a multiple orgasm. I'm very familiar with my body, so that's also critical. You have to know
Yeah, you do.
how to please yourself in order for someone else to please you.
Correct.
I have no problem with directing somebody to where it is. It is, and I try to do it in a nice, graceful way as well. It's like, okay, if that right there that you're doing right there, keep doing that.
Right.
Right, keep doing that. Encourage them.
Yeah, you do. You have to. You
know.
have to tell them. You have to direct them because, like you said, you know your body better than anyone else, and you have to teach them,
Right.
and vice versa.
Yeah.
You know, men need to also communicate with their woman or your partner or whomever to teach them how to please you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as far as when you were saying, the key to orgasm is the head.
Yeah.
It's the mind. It's the mind fuck. It's you having your head in the game. And that's mainly it. If your head's not in the game, no, you're not going to have that. However, you can do a lot of breath work and a lot of energy work because it's really about the connection. If you don't have a connection with the person, you're not going to have an orgasm.
Yeah.
I'm just sorry. Unless you're having an orgasm and you're pretty much fucking yourself, you know, and you're all in your head and they're just there. You know, they're
Yeah.
just taking up space
Yeah.
or whatever. Where you could possibly
filler.
just a filler. You could possibly use
Literally.
a dildo or something for that if they're taking up space, and do it on your own. But that is the key of what you said.
Yeah.
It's what's going on in your mind. You know, but as far as, you know, 10 surprising facts about orgasm, a lot of people think that you have to come or ejaculate when you have an orgasm. That's not the case. You don't all that is a fact. You know, you can have an orgasm is pretty much like a spasm. You know, it's like a spasm. It's energy. And like you said, you can do it on your own. You know, and have an orgasm. Also, too, you know, doing certain techniques as far as, like you said earlier, the energy and the breath work, so that you could possibly have a longer orgasm.
Yep.
So that's what I focus on. I focus on not so much having multiple orgasms, but having what they call valley orgasms, and not peak orgasms.
Yeah.
You know, however, you know, if I'm into it and I'm not having an orgasm, I may pull out a vibrator and put it on my clit because you have different type of orgasms of.
Well, I need to ask you a question. What's a valley orgasm and what's a peak orgasm? I have in my head what I think it is, but if you would share with the class.
Well, I mean, most people have peak orgasms, and peak orgasms is where you're into it, and it's mainly the clitoris that's involved with a female and the tip of the penis for a man. And of course, you know, the man getting into it, he wants you so much, and then guess what? He comes immediately because he wanted you so bad, and his tip was stimulated. However, the same with you, your clitoris stimulated, and you have that peak orgasm. So it's very, you know, hard and rushed and fast and explosive. Yes, exactly. And then how do you feel after you have a peak orgasm? You feel what? Drained, right? You ready?
I was going to use another adjective, sleepy.
Right, exactly. Sleepy, drained, depleted, right? So, and that's the thing with men, it's like they want to go to sleep. You may want to cuddle.
I don't. Get off me.
But that's a peak orgasm. But see, some people want to, like myself, it's a time and a place for a peak orgasm. For me, I feel that that's when it's spontaneous, right? It's spontaneous sex. However, I want to achieve valley orgasm. Valley orgasm is where it's longer, where you slowed it down, where you're doing more of the foreplay, where you're doing the tantra, where you're doing you're putting the time in and you're slowing it down. It's kind of like the difference between sex and lovemaking, or just intercourse and lovemaking. That's the valley orgasm, because then once you start getting it where the man can hold his seed, because he's gonna probably ejaculate or come before you, so teaching him how to hold his seed,
That's another show.
That is another show. We can do a tantra show, but because Madame Boku, I've been practicing tantra.
I heard rumor on the street is you ain't nothing to play with.
And tantra it's amazing, and you prefer that. Why is that? Because it actually does give you more energy. You're not depleted and sleepy after you have this valley orgasm. You can kind of go a little longer. And possibly through the night or whatever, but that's the whole point of them. Peak is exactly what it sounds like. Peak, valley is exactly what it sounds like. Valley.
In the past, I've heard what you're describing be described as like a clitoral orgasm versus a vaginal orgasm.
Correct.
But you're also speaking in terms of men; they can also achieve a valley orgasm
Correct.
as well. So
exactly, by possibly practicing tantra and learning how to hold their seed. Yeah, exactly. And as far as like you stated, as far as an orgasm of your clitoris or orgasm of your G spot, which is in your vagina, exploring also other areas too to have an orgasm. Anal orgasm, cervical orgasm, of your cervix. You can have an orgasm of other parts of your genital, area and parts and so forth. And people don't really think about that. All they think about is the clitoris and the G-spot.
Yeah.
So that also is another show.
We got you hooked.
Yeah. So, what are some other, surprising facts about orgasm that you
right
can
here,
think of?
I'm looking at this article again, Women's Day, and they talk about how orgasms can relieve pain, which
that is true.
I've heard of orgasm relieving pain and or illness. Like when I was married, my then husband used to say, "Look, well, let's have sex and it's gonna make you feel better." And I was like, you selfish bastard, but it was true.
You just thought he wanted to have sex.
I think he thought that too, but it did actually work out. So, but you said that it's true as far as relieving pain. So
I can just speak from me. Yeah. When I have a headache or something like that, and if my partner is there, then of course, and then also too, women having menstrual cramps.
Yeah.
Of course, people don't want to have sex on their period, but it's actually the best sex. And the reason why is because it relieves pain. So it helps with the PMS, it helps with the menstrual cramps, but also too, when I have a headache, if I masturbate and I release, I think it's really more about the release, and that's what it is. It's like, because sometimes when I have that headache and you're meditating, it's like the headache's not going away. But however, if you have some type of explosive, that's a time and a place for when you want to have that peak orgasm or that valley orgasm, right? Because if you got a headache and you have a valley orgasm, you're like, God damn, can we get this over with? Whereas a peak orgasm, you just released.
Right.
And that headache possibly have gone away.
You become unstuck.
Okay.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right, so I think that we've come to the end of our first podcast. This is like number 1. We've done run-throughs before, but this is like number 1. We want to talk about, last thoughts on everything that we talked about.
Yeah.
So, if you could wrap all of this in a tiny, beautiful bow,
What's your takeaway?
Yeah, my takeaway is communication, really. I mean,
Yeah.
and that we started with it, we can end with it. It's, you got to talk to your partner. And sometimes there are ways to make that easier. I know that sometimes you feel like, oh, I can't talk to him about this, or I can't talk to her about that. She's too sensitive or whatever. But there are ways, there are techniques. We'll get to it. We'll get to it to kind of introduce some ideas and open up the communication. So if that were one thing I could take away from this, that would be it, communication.
I mean, that's key, because anytime you're talking about what women want, need, and expect, I mean, at the end of the day, communication. I mean, because the only way you're going to know what someone needs is to talk about. What someone wants is to talk about, and what someone expects is to talk about. Now, as far as expectation, I always say if you're trying to achieve happiness, then you need to kick expectation out the door. You know why? Because I think sometimes we put too much expectation on each other that it kind of affects the relationship. So I say, as far as expectations, kind of let it flow.
Yeah.
You know, kick that out the door, throw that out the window. But as far as need and want, that's different. You know, and you need to communicate. I also say consistency. You know, because I'm not going to tell you what I need and want, and then there's no consistency and frequency, because then you're not meeting my needs or my wants, because that might be one of those things, you know. And also compromise. So I say communication, consistency, and compromise.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, it's what I want and need, but it's also what you want and need. And sometimes you might not be on the same page with that.
Yeah.
But that's where, if you actually are going to be in a relationship or a partnership or whatever category you put each other in, you need to compromise on that as well. So that's my takeaway. So,
Very good.
Madame beaucoup, it was a pleasure being here with you today with Foreplay Matters.
Because it matters.
Because it matters. And we want you to go to our website, secretsociety.life, our Instagram, Secret Society Life. Leave us some comments, post any topics you want us to discuss. But the main thing is to follow us and to tune in. And you're going to tune in every Wednesday, because it's hump day.
All right.
All right, au revoir.
Au revoir.